Barb with Inspire Me 360, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about social media and the image that you portray, and I guess using a little bit of discernment as you move through your life in terms of what kind of image you're portraying. And this is kind of, again, in this series of videos that I am making, for my daughter or for my daughter's son. I don't have kids, but giving some of my maternal wisdom to people out there. Of course, I own schools, so I get to talk to young people all the time. And however, this is some of the things that I don't get to maybe say to them in terms of the advice I would love to give. So when we look at social media and we look at the kind of images that we are putting out there into the world concerning ourselves, there's a lot of peer pressure out there, and unfortunately, especially with the internet, anything that we do lives on the World Wide Web eternally. It is there. It's very difficult to take it down, and even if you do take it down, there's a good chance that there are some remnants of it somewhere. And another saying that I like to use is a picture is worth 1,000 words. So people can discern a lot from an image. Doesn't mean that they're judging that image correctly, but people are going to judge you from that three-dimensional appearance that you're putting forth. So especially, and I don't care if you're a woman, a man, whatever it is, again, the things that we do in our younger days will affect the road that we can take when we, as we progress in our lifetime. So what do I mean by this? You know what, there is a lot of peer pressure to post things, to be sexy, to be very revealing online, and to be that, Instagram girl. Back in the 1930s and 20s, there was the pinups, and that was kind of risque. And now the pendulum has swung so far to the other end where it's somehow cool to take off all of your clothes and expose yourself fully online to some degree. And this tends to be the younger generation. This tends to be, high school, just out of high school. And I think the goal of this is that if you can get Instagram famous or some sort of fame online from having very beautiful edited digital photos of yourself, that there's some sort of monetary or, money attached to it, or fame that comes with it. But at what cost? And this is the really important thing that you have to learn, or you have to think about, whether it is that you're getting yourself involved in something like OnlyFans or pornography or something in that way, or if it is just very risque exposed images. It really narrows your life path. You can't kind of double back from creating that persona of yourself online, because again, it's online, it's everywhere. Gone are the days when you could potentially, go and become a dancer and nobody would really know about it, and it might be whispered about behind closed doors, and then all of a sudden, you do want to become a school teacher, or you do want to go into politics, or whatever have you. That is not possible anymore with the internet. Everything that you do, first of all, is marketed online, and then second of all, exists online really for the long term. And this is why we have to be so conscious at a very young and early age as to how we are showing up in the world and what kind of image are we bringing forth. Because what you have to think of is, what are you posting up that might limit you down the road on goals that you might not even know that you have? And there's sort of two parts to this, because it doesn't just chisel you or whittle you into this kind of corner So as a woman, and as a man too, but specifically as a woman, when we're creating images that are highly provocative, what we're advertising essentially is a lack of discretion and a lack of self-respect. And there's the other side of the coin where women will say, you know what, naked pictures of myself, or, bending over, or whatever it is, taking a picture of my back end, it's liberating. But I would question that. What about it is liberating? I always, when people have an ideology, you really have to ask questions about your own ideological views. So if you want to feel liberated, go climb a mountain, jump out of an airplane. What is liberating about taking off your clothes and showing a naked image of yourself to other people? I mean, you're a bit of an exhibitionist, and maybe being an exhibitionist is liberating, but being an exhibitionist in the sense of hypersexuality and taking off all of your clothes and posting that everywhere also is very limiting, in the sense that when we think of the way that we want to see the leaders in our communities, and leaders in business, leaders in terms of the political situation, leaders in terms of the community giving back, we don't want people that are leading our countries bending over and taking selfies in G-strings. So it's questionable. You're basically saying, okay, I want fame, I want money, which neither of those things, fame being vanity, money being greed, neither of those things are really, altruistic goals. They're not going to bring you true happiness. Nobody that, got on the fame bus or got extremely famous will tell you that it's a fun ride all of the time. Yes, it's a wild ride. Yes, there are a lot of expectations. Yes, your privacy goes out the window. All of these different things that come with it. And yeah, you'll have a lot of people that you don't know following you around, obsessed over you. But is it worth selling your morals, or is it worth selling your soul and potentially not, or closing the doors to some of the more scholastic or some of the more intelligent things that you can do with your body, mind, and spirit? Okay, and it's not that I'm fighting back against the world of, hypersexuality and, exposing everything, but I think that we need to think about it before we do it. What is the cost to the rest of our lives if we are continually exposing ourselves and showing these hyper sexualized images? First of all, from a woman's standpoint, being a woman, and what I want to portray is, again, if you want to ever be in a mother role, if you want to hold a high position in any type of industry, in business, in, again, whether it be charity organizations or being a part of your local government bodies, you're not going to have access to be able to progress in these ways if you have portrayed yourself in a very sleazy manner. And if you've done it consistently with a barrage of this kind of imagery online representing yourself, you really will never be able to achieve those goals. And you don't know how you're going to feel when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50, when you actually might be really passionate about something and you really want to take on some sort of a platform. Once you've done some of these things that, again, degrade yourself, because again, it is, if you are exposing yourself just for a little bit of money, or again, for likes of people you don't even know, what's the value in that? And why are you doing it? Like, what is so empty inside yourself that you think that you can fill it with a bunch of people liking your photo or commenting or saying, you're hot or this or that? Like, it's not real connection. And I think that's what people have to understand. If they are lonely, if they are feeling like they need interpersonal relationships, it's not going to come from a device. It's not going to come from 10,000. And even if okay? Even if you can, go on a platform like OnlyFans and do God knows what to earn even a good amount of money. At the end of the day, are you proud of what you're doing? Is it something that you'd want to tell your granddaughter, tell your daughter? Is it something that you'd want to show them? I mean, again, it's something that you need to ask yourself. Is exposing yourself in this way truly divine maternal behavior? I know I wouldn't want to see my mom taking off all of her clothes. I wouldn't want to see my mom gyrating in a video or, looking super sexy or suggestive. That's my mom. I want my mom to be somebody that, I can cuddle up to, I can trust, that is, again, that has an innocence but a strength within herself. I don't want to be embarrassed of the image that my mother is bringing forth. And so that's the other side of this coin, is one day you might be a mom and you're going to have to explain to your daughter why you portrayed yourself in that manner. Or even worse, maybe you're going to have this beautiful innocent daughter sitting in front of you and you don't want her getting that kind of attention, because maybe by then you've learned what kind of attention that is, and it's the wrong kind of attention. It's not loving. It's not based on a sacred divine union. When men are hitting you up because there's a picture online of you overly exposed, they're not thinking about your beautiful mind. They're not thinking about you having a good heart. They're thinking about one thing and one thing only. And if a man is thinking about that, he doesn't see you as long-term material. He sees you as a one-time thing, maybe a few times, but there's no value placed on you as the human, as the person that you are. So if you want to be respected, and if you want to create this energy of pulling in the most, the highest expression of what it means to exist in a lifetime, then there are certain immediacies that you have to forgo. And some of them are going to be posting up inappropriate pictures of yourself, even if your friends are doing it, even if it seems fun for a second or that evening to post up some wild, crazy, sexy photos, because again, you want to feel like all the other girls. You want to look as pretty as the other girls. I mean, I do understand that mentality when you're looking online and you're like, well, I can look like that. You're seeing a whole bunch of people liking that image and commenting on that image. But what I think you need to ask yourself as well about the countless beautiful images of superficial people, and I'm not saying that truly at their core they're superficial, but if that is the extent of their day, sitting around in very, very revealing clothing, taking selfies of themselves over and over, what are they bringing to the world? What positive momentum are they bringing to the world? Are they creating something from their soul? Are they bringing something forth that is a beautiful emanation of humanity? And is it going to help the world, or is it hurting the world? Is what people are posting making the world a more empty, superficial, disconnected, morally deplorable place? Because the more that we allow this to become mainstream and we say, okay, well, yes, every mother and father should be, posting their abs online and revealing everything for everybody else to see, where does it stop? You have one side of the spectrum where people are saying, okay, we don't want to see child abuse and we don't want to see, sexual abuse of young people. We have parents that are posting highly sexual imagery all the time, all day long on their social media. So then what are the children supposed to think when mom and dad are posting up this kind of almost quasi pornographic imagery? What are we teaching the kids? We're teaching the kids that it's okay to take off all of your clothes and have no standards, and that nothing is sacred. Nothing. I mean, what is the point of even, I don't know. I just think that there is a certain point where we have to look at the landscape of what we're creating and maybe pull it back a little bit and say, some of these things do need to not be completely plastered all over social media, and that we need to push for less superficiality and more authenticity. And the only way that we can do this is with each individual coming back to themselves and saying, I don't need this kind of approval. If I'm feeling kind of down, putting up a picture that is highly edited with minimal amount of clothing so that I can get 500 likes, does that actually solve the problem that I'm having? What is the actual problem that I'm having? Maybe I'm lonely. Maybe I want to actually have a deep conversation. Maybe I want somebody to put their phone down and look at me in the eyes and actually care about what I'm saying. But what I am doing is the absolute opposite of this. I'm creating more superficiality, and I'm wasting my time scrolling online looking for something to feed my soul. Well, it's not there. It's not there. It'll never be there. You're never going to get any deep communication, deep fulfillment from looking at a screen. And yet, this is what people are doing, and they're getting their minds so sucked into a digital world that doesn't exist that it's bending their moral code. It's taking them away from their families. It's creating a whole new type of addiction, which is, again, cyber addictions, massive addictions to pornography, to chatting online, to this unrealistic world that doesn't exist. And it's at the expense of a very real world that does exist. So again, what's the solution to this? The solution is that, like anything else, we identify the problem and then we slowly fix it. Meaning we put back on our clothes, we take photos that represent good, wholesome values, and we swing the pendulum back to a more traditional style of beauty, one which is about perhaps the activities that we're doing and not so much the cleavage we're showing, or we take pictures of having fun and smiling and true interactions, and not so much of these empty selfies, which at the end of the day, to me, scream, I'm not happy. That's why I'm posting this. I'm lonely. That's why I'm taking pictures by myself. And maybe we need to pay a little bit more attention to what our kids are doing online and get them out and about, get them into nature, have conversations with them. Stop being lazy. Create a situation that's fun. A lot of times there is stagnancy within even a family dynamic where it gets easy to sit there and watch the television. And planning epic adventures at night can be a little bit of work, but it's worth it and it's fun. And when you approach your life in this way, you create beautiful memories. And I think that that's what we have to remind our human family, is that there is so much more to living than just existing online. So I'm going to wrap this video up, but the real purpose that I'm posting this video and making this video is that it might spur something, within you, that it's your worth and your value shouldn't be deduced to how good your selfies are or how much you can filter a picture, because even that, you can put on a million filters, but you're still going to be you. And why not just be authentically who you are? It's easier that way. And then you don't have to feel like you have, in real life, you don't add up to this persona that you're putting online that, again, isn't really you. And you're getting these accolades and these likes and these followers from something that isn't really you. Just try to be you, and try to figure out what that is and what that person likes and what their talents are and what their gifts are, and do that. Do that without worrying about if the world is going to approve of it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if the world approves of you. And I can tell you 100% that when you are your authentic self, when you are your real self, that's when the rest of the world will be magnetically attracted to you anyways, in real time, in reality. So before you go and put, a super sexy selfie up, or, you're overly exposing yourself or putting a pose up where you are looking super sleazy or suggestive, ask what type of energy you are pulling towards yourself from that photo. If you are getting a lot of negative attention, or maybe you're attracting the wrong kind of guys or the wrong kind of girls because of what you're posting, again, it's all the law of attraction. What you put out will draw that kind of attention back to you. So you need to be super careful about what you're attracting. And again, the whole goal is joy. You want to create the most beautiful, joyful unfoldment of your life, and you never want to limit your future potentials and your future timelines. And when you are posting images of yourself that might not portray you in the beautiful, sacred energy that you truly were created in, you're going to limit the possibilities that will come your way. So again, just a little bit of advice from this old lady. Hopefully you find it helpful. If you don't, it is what it is. It's, peace and love here. It's not that I'm hating on anybody. It's just food for thought.